let me reiterate what Joyce said. Thank you very much to the staff here. You have been an enormous help, especially to someone like me who is obviously not what they call a digital native, but is a digital immigrant, and so I really appreciate that. EDUC 206 is a course, Intro to Special Education. It is a requirement for all education majors. So it is our opportunity to proselytize a little bit. And one of the things we really wanted to do was to present it in a way that would perhaps encourage some students to look at special education as both a major or a minor. And so the course is currently offered online. It is currently offered face-to-face, but it has been a little bit kind of loosey-goosey. I had taught it online last summer and kind of did what I wanted, my own thing. This semester, an adjunct is teaching it online, and she's kind of going and doing her own thing. And so we really wanted there to be a lot more uniformity in the course, regardless of who taught it. So the other two people that teach the course along with myself, my colleagues, Dr. Shoulders and Mariah, we divided up the lectures so that all the lectures are not me. My specialty is autism and early childhood special education. So I recorded the voice threads that dealt with those things. Mariah is very, very interested in learning disabilities in children at risk. So she recorded the lectures. And so it actually gives the students an opportunity to see all of us that currently teach in special education talk about things that we're passionate about. So that was sort of one thing that we did that was sort of a hybrid or an additional thing. It is our plan to eventually offer it completely online. The new way, this new course here, will be offered for the first time this coming summer. And so the person that's teaching it in the spring just could not get this ready by then. So by next summer, this is the way that we'll be offering it all the time. And we sort of start out with a welcome, and I think a lot of people do that, an introductory video of me. But I start with an introductory module because, again, because these are special education students that are considering, they're typically sophomores that take this course. Even some freshmen can take this course. So I want to make sure that they understand exactly what I want them to do first. So I started out with the introductory module. And we have started in the last 5 semesters putting a survey on for students to fill out before they ever start taking the course. And we're collecting data on the survey. But basically what we do is we have them fill out a survey about, just kind of about their perceptions of special education. Then at the end of the course, they fill it out a second time and they write a short reflective paper about, hey, how have my perceptions of persons with disabilities changed as a result of taking this course? And because I was unable to come to the half-day workshop that we did for Quality Matters, I had to take the 2-week-long course. And I started out, Yuhan can tell you, I called her the first time and I said, I quit, I can't do this. I've already failed the first cast. You know, I couldn't get 80% on the first cast, I'm doomed. And she said, no, just stick with it. Please just stick with it. As I got into it and I realized that the other people in the course, and there was one from Australia, there was one from New Zealand, they were as lost as I was. And so I really, it sort of gave me a sense of not feeling like I was just out there, the lone person, you know. So I really got a lot out of doing that 2 weeks because we really went in depth in what our course was going to look like. Plus, it was kind of neat for me to get feedback from people in other places. And we kind of shared some ideas. So that was probably one of my biggest ahas. But my introductory module, just basically, I made checklists that the students can actually check off as they go so that they will know when they have completed what they need to do for the whole week. And my introductory module, one of the neatest things that I got from that particular 2-week course was this neat little, are you ready to take an online course survey? And it really just helps students identify their own readiness skills. Because if I have learned anything, I have learned that even though our students are very tech savvy, that doesn't necessarily mean they're ready to take an online course. And so it just kind of, it's a self-study, it's a self-checklist for them to see, hey, these are some things that I may need to know or that I may need to do. also in the introductory module, of course, the course syllabus, the course outcomes. I have some tips for success and some FAQs that I have sort of developed through my years of teaching, and then a discussion board where they introduce themselves. And then I put in a practice quiz that has no points whatsoever, just to get them used to the fact that every week you'll be taking a quiz. And from there, then, they continue to Module 1, and all the subsequent modules, Modules 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, are in here in the same way. The only thing that I think is, one of the things that I think has really worked well, we use a lot with Peabody. Peabody does these research-based modules for students and instructors. And so we use those throughout several places throughout for key points, because not only is it based on the latest research, but they have wonderful interviews in their modules with key people nationally. And then they have some great exercises. And this particular first one actually has students look at people and try to identify them not as having a disability, but as really being a person. So those are some of the kinds of things that we added. Sort of in terms of how has my perspective of online teaching changed, I think I have a better understanding of how to organize it, of what to do, who's on first, what to do second. The first time we taught this, we would have the students try to get a proctor and take their midterm and their final through a proctor. And this became especially cumbersome in the summer. And then I was getting all this stuff, my aunt teaches at so-and-so high school, can she be my proctor? And my cousin works at the CVS, but he gets off at 8. That was my favorite one. But he gets off at 8. Can you be my proctor? Because he's a teacher. And so what we did, Mariah and Tori and I, we sat down and we thought, okay, what could we do to kind of keep it from being such an issue? So we do allow them to use their notes and their information for the test. But both their midterm and their final are timed at 60 minutes. They can't go stop it and start it again. And we have found that the grades have been pretty consistently okay. But they do take those weekly modules. Right now, for the people that are taking it in the spring, the way that the adjunct is doing it, she just takes the weekly modules and copies them, and that becomes the midterm and the final. And I didn't want to do that with this. So we really have made it much more germane, not just to the textbook, but to the material that's there. And my final thoughts is I think everybody should do it, especially people who haven't, who may have taught a long time. I mean, Joyce and I probably both between us have been teaching since the earth was cooling, but haven't necessarily looked at it in a different way. I think for any of us who are educators, when we can learn something new, I get really excited about it. So I think doing the objectives, especially in doing the course mapping, even though I have taught my students how to do that, for me to actually sit down and do it and to plan the course from A to Z, I have a much better understanding of how it's going to fit in the 6 weeks of the summer. Now, I will be modifying it a little bit for next year, but right now with 6 weeks of summer, they basically have 5 days per module. So they have to recognize, and that's spelled out pretty clearly up front. Probably my other just aha moment was the fact that it really does help when we tell them, we will give you feedback in XYZ amount of time. Because that is one thing I've always felt real strongly about as an instructor, is that if we don't give students timely feedback, we're really doing them a disservice. So I like the way it's organized. I cannot say enough about Yuhan. She has held my hand through all of this. She has never, ever told me what I was doing was, stupid or a waste of time. She has always guided me in a very gentle but firm way. So I really appreciate her input. But that's kind of basically how my class is organized. Is there anything else I need to say? All right. I have a question. Okay.
Maybe not even that you can answer, I don't know, but on your to-do list with the check boxes, do those save for them when they log out and then they come back to it?
I don't think they do.
No. Okay. They just check them as they do.
Yeah, they just check them. Yeah. For me, it's just so they can go back and
just
check.
Just a visual.
Yeah, just a visual so they can check it. So I've done that. Because one of the things, if I have learned anything in all my years of teaching is to get students to understand that, first of all, the syllabus and the due dates are not a suggestion box. You know, they're real.
Right.
And we have these real deadlines because when they get out there and they start teaching, you know, you can't say to your principal, I'm so sorry, I just didn't get my lesson plans done today, my kids couldn't do whatever. So I think this organization kind of makes it real for the students. So, but that's it.